Suraj, let me ask you simple questions in the beginning. What is caste? How do you define it?
Caste is a social structure that empowers people to discriminate other people based on their birth into a certain set of society. Religion uses and banks upon this by legitimizing it to making it an aggressive form of violence upon the people who are part of this. So caste affects people who are part of caste across the board.
Yes.
The level of casteism might be different, but it does happen.
When you realize that caste exists in this world?
See, I grew up in a Dalit slum. You see, the Dalit slums are the places where you are segregated and people talk about caste. So I had no privilege of not knowing caste, but I did not know how it
The worst point of view is you knew it.
maybe, in school, I was maybe in 5th, 6th standard, and it's difficult maybe. What I'm saying is I knew about caste since I was born because I grew up in this, but I got the consciousness of it when people started, talking, kids started. It was like a fun thing. We did not think it was like a disparaging thing. But ever since it has remained, so the Dalit kids, they were 3. And we would talk to each other about our caste and we would just make fun of it.
It has been widely perceived that caste system exists within Hindu religious system only, but you have written and you have been advocating that it exists everywhere. Could you please elaborate it a bit?
See, especially in the Indic tradition, especially the geographically India or South Asia, where caste has been operating for so long, the new religions, when they made inroads, they had to compromise. They had to settle with certain facts that the society was having, which means, excuse me, for example, Christianity. The Brahmins were one of the first converts, if not the first converts. And when they got converted, they saw their material benefit there. And so when they got converted, they retained their hegemony as Brahmin. And in fact, the Christians, 70% of the Christians are Dalits. But the issues of Christians that we come to know are only the elite 2 to 3% of the Christians who are Brahmin Christians. We only get to know about their issues. Similarly with Islam. So whichever religion, Sikhism, whichever religion has touched this land or whichever has been...
I mean, basically it exists and it is got spreaded everywhere from India then. You want to make the point?
The Hinduic caste emerged.
Yes.
You see, we have to understand one fact. Why has there been so many outbursts of religion in India? इतने religion क्यों है? एक religion है तो खुश रहना चाहिए. Why don't we ask this fundamental question? Why a religion like Buddhism? Why religion like Jainism? Why there is religion like Sikhism? Why are they coming out from this land?
Do you see caste system exist in Buddhism and Sikhism as well?
They eventually adopted because the people.
Buddha was against the casteism.
Buddha is hell-bent against the caste system, and Buddha has to. I think probably one of the most egalitarian religion when it comes to caste is Buddhism.
Yes.
No other religion is affording that space because the Buddha's doctrine begins with this very fundamental idea. But again, we have to question how many of the Buddhists adhere to Buddha's virtues. How many of them actively participate in eradicating this caste system? By merely sitting and preaching meditation and it will resolve the problem is not going to do that. People are suffering on a daily basis. So the idea of spiritual comes only when you are fulfilled. तुम्हारा पेट भरा हुआ है, फिर तुम बात कर सकते हो उसके बारे में. खाली पेट में तुम, how can you make this? So almost all the religions, what I was coming back to the point, यह इतने religion इसके लिए पैदा हुए क्योंकि एक religion उसका satisfaction नहीं दे पाया. There always was a thrust, and the Hindu value was never considered as equal as it was.
Yeah, I can understand this. But again, my point is, you said that caste system exists in different countries, like in Senegal, Japan, and in other I think in South Africa as well. So I would like to know what the situations there in terms of that.
See, example, see, one is the immigrants.
How different their caste system is than we have in India and Nepal.
It's almost similar, but there are fundamental differences, which is here the religion authorizes you to do that, but on a larger scale, the religion in those countries might or might not do that, because for example, if you talk about Senegal, or if you talk about other countries, there is their own fundamental social structure.
Sarita sent this.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
Sanjula, I'm list of Sarita.
Sanjula. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we'll be at home. We'll be sending-
Okay, see you there. So see, in Africa, for example, when, as I said, caste is a social segregation, and social segregation exists where historical segregation and segmentation has been continuing, and it is still in modern era. Caste is different; it's a social system, so those exist there too.
Yeah.
Their ideas are different.
But the ideas of untouchability exist in
They-
outside India as well.
Yes,
Really?
yes, because the people who do the lower paying, like undertakers,
Is it based on caste or is it based on class?
it is based on caste, because that's their hierarchical, that's their inheritance. We call it descent. Descent, matlab the religion that you are, the profession, your caste based profession.
But like in India, the son of Sudra becomes Sudra
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And what is the term to Sudra in?
So there are different, so there are like, there are different caste systems that exist. Osu in Nigeria, for example, there is a caste among the Igbo, and similarly we have in Senegal the Wolof, and we have in Mauritania, we have in Mali, and so there are social structures that have been, see, there are servants. My friend is a Malian scholar. Mali is a country which was colonized by France. He told me that he belongs to the equivalent of Shudra caste, but the people who are lawmakers and the decision makers, they come from, so if we compare the so-called Brahmin caste of them, but they call it different name. And then there are servant castes.
Okay.
So he said, if a person from that caste comes to,
He has to be servant.
he has to be servant, even if he goes to different countries.
It's like Dasi.
Exactly. And so that's where we see the relevance and similarities of caste.
Okay.
Where he said, if a person from specific caste or specific background of servant comes in the US, he or she will still pay respect as a servant to the. So that's the kind of fundamental aspect.
And you have even written that this casteism exists in highly developed countries such as in UK,
Yeah.
Australia,
Yeah.
and America and
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah.
So how fundamentally they are same or different?
So these are diaspora
Yes.
who left,
Okay.
who carried the caste system.
But originally the Western system, I think they didn't have caste system, right?
See, they have an equivalent of caste system. For example, we call it a class-based system, but also the class was designed by your location. If you are a peasant, you belong to the specific caste. Now we don't have the phenomenon of caste. For example, France had people, they call it cagot. Cagot was an untouchable of that society in France.
Does this social practice still exist?
No, it is not. There are, and many people who are cagot are not identifying themselves as cagot because it's humiliation and stigma. Because when a French man or woman knows that person is cagot, they will discriminate against them. So many cagots don't.
Still today?
Yeah. So many cagots are refusing to acknowledge their own history because they are told as criminals. They are used all kinds of epithet to describe them.
And they are untouchable in their tongue?
Yeah, I mean it's a loose term, but the property of it is untouchable.
Okay. And let me ask you another question. You said that it is diaspora, and in some countries it has its own way of making people feel lower. How many of percentage does this population constitute around the world?
So we don't have accurate register of this. At least we know of India, for example.
Yes.
There are 300 million, and if you add Nepalese, and then we add African and that context, we get close to anywhere between now. Because of the lack of number, we have to guess, and I think Smita Narula had done a research, and she had estimated a number. So if we even include that number, it will get close to 400 million plus 450-ish.
You have come with the idea of fourth world. So would you please elaborate it? What does it mean?
See, Ghanshyam, what happened when we had independence and when we had revolutionary movements across the world, we were fighting to gain equality.
Yes.
What happened after revolutions? What happened after independence?
Dalit remain Dalit.
Exactly. And that has been the condition of all the societies where their Dalits have remained Dalits.
Yes.
People who were disenfranchised, who were not represented, remain underrepresented. Now they are still waiting to be heard. They are people on the lower performing index. We never know about them. Now tell me, how much time we hear about this servant class of Mali? How many times do we hear about the equivalent of undertaker caste and class in our popular discourse here now? We know, of course, about South African apartheid system because Nelson Mandela and fight, because this were struggle again of a privilege of a certain kind. But the lower classes still remain lower. And as a Dalit, I want to look out for my fellow brothers and sisters who are also oppressed and Dalitized in their own society. And this is what the fourth world talks about, that please come under one roof and let's embrace each other, because we know the society you come from hate you, they dislike you and they despise you. But in this world that we are trying to form, we will love you, we will uphold you for your own original values, your own original cultures and your own original visions. Until and unless we commit to that, there is not going to be acknowledgement. So we want to first of all acknowledge them, acknowledge our fellow brothers and sisters divided by, separated by various regions and cultures, to come under and fight for a common cause, that is to gain and reclaim legitimacy of their own life.
You have been saying that the effort of Baba Ambedkar has not been that successful to bring all the Dalits and to get them connected in the past, and you want to make it happen again. So how different is your methodology or way of dealing with the issues?
See, I am continuing the work that Baba Sahib left. I have to carry that work now, because there are certain things he could do in his life and certain things he could not. The things he could not are the things that I can do because of my accessibility, because of my education, because I am by the very virtue of living in a foreign country. You see, and that's why we need to understand that Baba Ambedkar could not accomplish in his life because he was one man show. There were few cadres that were helping him. So what I plan to do is to connect with my people across the world, to create a strong coalition, so I can hold on to my future. See, it is about the future of my children, your children, our collective future. And we need to define our own future.
Yes.
In a Brahminical society, the Brahmins write your future, your children's future. That will always be working against your own development and autonomy. We would like to write our own future through our own hands in our own discourse. So when we are reaching and climbing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we already know what we had planned for. This is a progressive nationalist thought of humanism that we want to establish.
It seems that you want to be a successor, or you are already, you make like claim that successor of Baba Ambedkar?
No, I don't have any wish to be a successor. I just want to contribute what I can in my way, and I love my people. I totally cherish them. I want to embrace them, and that is one thing that will never probably go away from me, is the fundamental element of what keeps me grounded, what keeps me connected, and what keeps me running. It is that I cannot afford to not love my people, and because of my commitment and love to my people, I continue to do what I can in my capacity, and thus that activities continue.
You have just written a book called Caste Matters, right? So what is it about?
See, Caste Matters is about explaining to the world that caste is not a Dalit issue only.
Yeah.
It is everyone's issue. As much as the people who are benefiting out of caste, but they are also suffering from caste. Until unless we acknowledge that we are also suffering through this system, there will be no adequate effort that people will take stand against it. As long as people feel that we are benefiting, it's fine if pain comes through. No, you are also not benefiting. It's not benefiting you on a larger scale. You might benefit for one generation or two generation, but now the new generation has come. People like me are here, who are educated, who are going to talk to people, look into the eyes. It's not going to be that easy. You will have to wrestle with us. You will have to intellectually argue with us, and we are not going to let you go without being accountable. We're going to claim equal space, and if not, we will make sure that we will stand there with a firm feet and fight till tooth and nail, until unless our last person who's standing in the queue gets the prominent place where he or she has not been.
Okay. Is this book about your journey to Harvard from being in a Dalit community, or is this book about the research of others' life who are suffering and being in the same community?
See, one of the things I would imagine is this is not a book about me. Can you take a photo of us? One of the things I want to talk through this book is little bit of my story, because I want to talk what is real. Because these Brahminical people are very crooked. They will say, oh, this elite Harvard guy, he is just coming and telling us. He doesn't have any tinge of responsibility, and he's just coming and telling us, but our people are living. So my story will tell you what the real story is, what is at stake. But it's not my autobiography, it's not my memoir, it's not my next book, which my publisher wants me to write, is my autobiography.
Is it your autobiography?
This book is not, but the next book my publisher wants me to write, and if I feel like, then I will write.
All right. Is it your second, third, fourth, first, which book?
This is my first solo author, and second as a collective book.
Yeah, as Sarita told me that he was not even 31, and you have
30.
shown so much success to the world. So what is what is the secret behind it? You said that you were you spent your childhood in very underprivileged surroundings, and every steps of your life was full of struggles that you had to prove that you too are a human being, you too have equal right, and that which are being enjoyed by the so-called elites and upper caste people. So what fueled you to be in this position?
First of all, success depends on the way you measure it.
All right.
I don't call it a success.
But
Again,
in the eyes of many people, such as Sarita and others.
indeed, I mean, inspiration, yes. Success, not sure.
Yeah,
Because then that will become a...
it is very subjective, I understand, but what fueled you to be there?
Exactly, I'll come back to that, but let me just clarify on this point.
All right.
Because when you will call me a success story, what you're gonna do is, you're gonna wish-wash other people, other Dalits, who are still struggling, who are still don't have food to eat, who are begging on the streets of Delhi, Mumbai, and every small villages and every small towns. You're still wish-washing the experience of Dalit women who don't have access as a Dalit male I had. You see what I'm saying?
Right, yes.
And that's a complicated place to be.
Yeah.
Inspiration, yes, I want to be. I want to inspire. I don't want to inspire my people. I want to inspire that kid and that small girl who is not living with any inspiration, who is still suffering, who is still living without any future, who is hoping that someone somewhere they will survive. What fueled me was this desperate desire that I grew up in a slum, and slum life is very dangerous. Drugs. Many people that I saw growing up, they died because I saw they would put drugs in there,
I can understand.
and some died of AIDS.
Yes.
These are the people I grew up with. I saw them. These were my elders, as we call Bade Bhaiya. They died in front of my eyes. One day he was there, next day I go in to see he's not there. Where is he? He died. When did he die? Last night.
You too could have ended your life.
I could have been that person.
Yes.
Exactly. This is right next to my house.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what saved you?
So, You see, I grew up in a family. My father, although he was a chaprasi, he was committed to the idea of knowledge. That's
Plus means a clerk.
Pune.
Pure.
Pune is the one who carries file.
Yeah.
So when we are having these difficulties in our life, we tend to develop a certain syndrome that there is a negativity, there is a pessimism. I was also, in that, because there is no resources. घर पे जाओगे.
Were you only one kid of your child?
Three.
Three. Are you the eldest, youngest, or middle?
I am the eldest.
Okay.
So it's more responsibility.
Yes, I can understand.
But also fairly being the eldest, I got, I guess, more in a way, because before anything went wrong, my father could at least put me in good school and all. So that helped me. But again, the experience of school was very isolating. It was not any.
I read it. I read.
Nobody invited me.
Yeah.
So it's a painful experience as a
Yes,
kid.
yes.
Imagine the small kids are,
I can understand.
and if you grew up as a kid whose friend don't invite you to their home.
That is very horrible.
We are three friends.
Yeah.
Him and he only plan an event and never tell you for your whole life.
That is horrible.
And one day you discover
That is like hell.
exactly. And if you are a small kid,
Yeah.
you want to cry
Yeah.
because what is your fault?
Did you often cry?
I emotionally, there were some moments, and I think crying is a very good therapy, although
Yes.
the masculinity in me doesn't allow me to cry. But yes, I want to cry. And crying is an emotion where I want to attach myself to. Crying is not weakness.
Yeah.
That's what we have been told by the patriarchal society. And if you are a man, if you shed a tear, then
not a man.
you are not a man.
And if you are a woman, if you laugh, you are not a woman.
Exactly. So these freaking codes that they imposed upon us,
Yeah.
I want to be able to challenge them. And I want to challenge them through my life, through my vocation, and through my activism. So the fueling energy came when I went to college. Discrimination was always there.
Yeah. I want to know that turning point.
There was no one turning point, but I can definitely tell you what happened in the, my father actually was a big turning point. I mean, he was always there to inspire me. But when I was in college, I got 12th, 47 or 48 percentage marks.
When was that?
12th. 12th.
No. What was the date? I mean, what
It was 2003
okay.
and 2005.
2009.
So there was no, 48% mark. What is your future?
Yeah.
How do you, now I'm interested
So,
by
so
you.
yeah, tell me more about what happened after that.
You are getting an exclusive insight. I have not given this to anyone. Gancham.
Yeah. See, it's good that you are sharing this
Yes,
with me.
very good.
Yeah, okay. I would like to know further.
So
But I hope you're not lying, my dear.
You know,
how they damage your brain? In India, every kid wants to be engineer or doctor
Yeah.
or architect.
and you were not different.
Thank God I was not having good marks.
Wow, congratulations.
Congratulations to me.
Yeah.
I got 48 percentage, or I think 46.
Did you cry on that night?
Oh hell no! I felt sad, but I couldn't cry
Because you were man, right?
because I was man.
Yeah.
I was being that
And
man.
what was the response of your father, who had a big dream?
He was like, go to law, go study law. That was the turning point.
Okay. And
I went to law. I realized my potential. Chemistry. What the heck is chemistry? That they create the chart and all bullshit. Didn't hit me. I was more interested in this aspect. So when I went to law, it connected.
okay.
And I became smart because I was interested and I was performing my true potential.
Okay.
Had I been in engineering or medical college,
Where was that college?
in Nanded, my hometown in Maharashtra,
Nandi. Oh, Maharashtra.
not very far. My father bribed me to go to law college
Really?
because law, I thought, is beneath my dignity.
Okay.
Because the lawyers we saw in slums were drunkards,
Yeah.
were people who were like, give me 100 rupees, I will do your work.
Yeah.
They were like very,
They are liars.
they were not good, like, because the profession made them. So I did not had good idol, Ghanshyam.
Okay.
You can't cross Everest without knowing someone had crossed Everest.
Oh, yeah.
You need that inspiration.
I got it.
You read the person and you say, he did that,
Yeah.
she did that,
Yeah.
I will also do that.
It's like a map on the journey.
I had no one.
Yeah.
I had to find my own path. So I want to discovery, just want to discover. And the best part of the college life was I did not like my house
Oh, really?
because it was in slum, one room, no independence. One room, you sleep with your 5 family members, 4 family members. There's no privacy. You are growing, you are adult, you are 18-year-old. You need to have,
It's little privacy at least.
indeed. So, but the poverty couldn't afford us.
Yeah.
So, law college, I became the leader.
Okay.
I became active in politics. I got elected. Excuse me. And since then, I organized many events as a leader, and that helped me build my confidence. But nobody encouraged me to do that.
Okay.
I have to be very particular about that.
You became your one master.
Everybody were treating me with contempt, or oh, he's Dalit boy doing like that. But of course, you find some people inspiration. That's what happens. If you're hungry, you will find inspiration from wherever. You will aim for it.
So, you finished your bachelor degree in
Nanded, yeah.
After that, you went to Harvard.
I got a scholarship from government.
Okay.
They give scholarships for the Dalits to go to foreign country. Your government should do that same.
Is it because of the reservation?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
it helps.
that's
Of course.
Yeah.
If there is no reservation,
You would not have.
there is no Suraj Yengde.
Yeah, I am.
Suraj Yengde would have been in one of the slums trying to build house with the mistri.
Or he would already have ended his life with.
I know. I talk about some friends in my stories, or get into the nashewali goli,
I can understand.
the pills. All my friends do that.
Yeah,
I never did that because maybe my father was big inspiration for me.
lucky you.
It was a slight. थोड़ा इधर हो जाता.
So when you went to
I went to England. I got scholarship. I went to study international human rights law
where?
in Birmingham.
Oh, I did that from Leeds.
Oh, you did? High five to that. What did you study?
International human rights law.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, from Leeds. Yeah. Okay.
So I was not as smart as you, or else I would have gotten into Leeds. True.
Yeah.
So I went to study, and then I got internship in United Nations
Wow.
in Switzerland.
Wow.
They selected around the world only 5 people.
And you became.
I was one of them.
Wow.
It was a very prestigious internship because UN has many internships. This was about you become secretariat. You become on a
So when was that?
2011.
Wow.
And man, I'm telling you, I came from slum. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know culture.
Yeah.
I don't know how to wear socks. I wear different shoes.
Still you are without socks.
Now this is a fashion.
Yeah.
Now this is a fashion.
Kidding,
But then I would wear sports socks on a suit. Tennis socks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody taught me that. So that's the kind of barriers. But I still navigated. There also, one of my best moments of life was in UN, or rather Geneva, not UN.
In general.
It really empowered me, and that gave me broader vision.
Okay.
And I never stopped.
Then you did your PhD, right?
In South Africa.
Okay. What was the research topic?
So I wanted to go initially study castes among Africans. Our research, our question, is there caste among Senegal and how it is and Senegal? We don't have adequate research. There is little bit, but I wanted to look through Dalit perspective.
Okay.
You feel me? But my advisor was a Brahmin fellow. There also Brahmin is like a pariyar say dangerous cobra.
Oh yeah.
He will and you will. So I was, but
You again, it was like resurrection.
it was you have to fight back. See, Ghanshyam,
Yeah.
if you grew up in a situation where constantly you are pressured,
Yeah.
you learn one thing: to fight back.
Yes, I can.
Either you fight back or you give up.
Yeah.
I chose the first one.
That is the one. Yeah, absolutely.
I had to fight back because my community looked up to me.
Yeah.
I needed to be inspiration for the people. I needed to be inspiration for Samna and all the 100 kids here.
So you completed your PhD how many years ago?
4 years ago.
4 years.
I was 27-year-old.
Now I have an impression that you have been teaching in Harvard, right?
Not. I'm doing research right now. But hopefully, because I was book, next year, not this, but next year maybe I will teach.
Okay. I'll be one of the happy person to know that.
Okay, I'm glad.
So, what are you doing at the moment?
In Nepal,
No. In US.
in life, in the
I
US.
want to know about your movement.
Oh, okay. So right now I am trying to connect people who are who are Dalits across the world. For example, the Roma population or the
They are in Europe.
Europe and Burakumin, like one gentleman asked. Unfortunately, I could not answer him in Japan.
You answer me right now. I'll publish it and you.
Yeah. So so this Burakumin, Roma, Dalit, the African oppressed, the subalterns of Africa.
Burakobin from France, right?
No, Burakumin from Japan.
Kaku is from
CAGOT, Cagot,
Kagot.
in France.
Okay.
And many of such, we don't know yet. I'm doing research. So what I do, every summer and every holiday I have, I go to these countries with my own money, and I go and try to explore these people because I have interest in this. So last summer I spent 1.5 months with refugees and Roma people. I went to their villages in Hungary. I went across the place. So my aim is that I connect with these people and let them know that we are there for you. I also want to let my fellow Nepali Dalit sisters and brothers to know that we are with you. You are not alone. And similarly, I want to also get confidence that my people are there.
You said that the land of the protest of Dalits should be global, not be specific to
Localized.
localized. So what does it mean? How can it be global protesting stage?
See, one of the ways to look at it, अगर तुमको one person is deriving pleasure in local context, तुम्हारा छोटा village head अमेरिका में जाता है, उधर फोटो लेके अपने गांव को भेजता है, because his constituency is that. How do you hit them? You become big boss. Remove the local and become the global. That's one of the way, and they'll get insecure, and they also don't have ability. They don't have ability. I am arguing Dalits have that immense ability to deal with this question, to deal with this problem. How do we go to that stage? How do we globalize? How do we create a new platform? And I think this is where we need to create alternative forums. For example, exactly, and in that we need to ask for various demands. One of the demand is redistribution of resources. Until we become politically relevant. See, if you are fighting in Nepal for your rights, the government is always going to wish wash you, and they are going to give you limited, unless there is real revolution. Until then, we will have to start forming alliances globally, because global community has to pay attention. Now you see Rohingya happened in Myanmar, or the earthquake happened, incidents. Global community takes stock of it. So if something happens to Nepalese here, the Indian Dalits should raise the voice and tell their government. Similarly, the Japanese Burakumin should raise the voice. Actually, I'm hosting them in Harvard in October.
Really
We are going
nice
to go.
idea. Has it happened before?
And not yet.
Not yet.
We are trying.
Wow, I would like to hear it.
Ghanshyam, you'll be one of the first people that we will keep you posted. It's an idea that requires a full-time commitment, and I want to instill that into the younger generation.
That's really nice.
And
to
followers.
hear. I think I have winded all my questions.
Good.
Do you have any?
Oh no, indeed, you asked me indeed all important questions. So I'm happy that you asked me.
So nothing in left in
This is going in Nepali language?
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, it's fine. It's not unfortunate. I will still share on my social media.
Yeah, she will help you understand.
Yeah.
it.
Yes.